Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome to my new video. Today we're going to be talking about laptops. So there were a lot of laptops in the past year in 2016, and in some ways we saw major design changes, things that shook us from top to bottom. And on the other side of that spectrum, we saw changes so small, they were smaller than bug fixes. So in the end, there was one laptop though, that actually changed my way of thinking and gave me hope towards the future of laptop innovation. These are my thoughts on Apple's 2016 MacBook Pro. Alright, so the way I'm structuring this video is splitting it into 3 likes and 3 dislikes on the 2016 MacBook Pro. Hopefully after watching this video, you guys can make a decision on whether you want to buy this device or if it's better off just staying in stores. First up is the likes. My number one like with the MacBook Pro is the update in its dedicated graphics card. I really, as a content creator, love when laptops have dedicated graphics cards and are able to produce and perform near desktop capabilities. So my own performance beast, the MSI GS63VR, check out the video unboxing that, but that has a 1060 graphics card and from NVIDIA. So that's a very powerful graphics card, and I've been waiting to find a MacBook that could pack in a good graphics card. So I'm glad to see that this year Apple has dropped in the Radeon 450 graphics card into their MacBook Pro. Now unfortunately this card is only available in the 15-inch models, and they are on the pricier side. They are the upwards of $2,000 to $3,000 as opposed to the 13-inch models, which are more closer to $1,500. Now for those of you that aren't content creators or don't need that graphics card power, the regular 13-inch device is totally fine. It works well. Good for daily tasks, good for students. If you're into graphic design, if you're into production, if you like things like that, I definitely recommend putting down the extra money to get that performance out of the new Radeon chips. Alright, the second thing I loved about this device is the touch bar. Now, the touch bar is a pretty unique thing to Apple. There have been some counterparts by Razer where they have a display on the laptop, but this is the first time anyone's ever taken away the function keys, or any part of the keyboard actually. So Apple, if you guys don't know, took away the entire function key bar, which is all the top F1, F2, all the way down, got rid of all of those, and replaced them with an OLED panel. And basically it's a small touchscreen bar that you can go through. And of course it gives you those stock function keys. It gives you your F1, it gives you your F2, but also it brings up those other things like display brightness change or volume change, things like that. So there are volume rockers you can do by touch. And the most important thing about this touch bar is that it opens up a broad range of capabilities in the future. So as of right now, the major applications that I played with that made use of the touch bar were Photoshop and Final Cut. Now unfortunately, although I do use Premiere mostly, Premiere does not have its capabilities for the touch bar, but Photoshop did provide a lot of cool things like changing color gradients and things like that through the touch bar. And so if you are working and you don't want to have to do it the normal way, the touch bar does provide a more interactive way of working with your content. Similarly, in Final Cut, I really liked how you could see render times and things like that and the status of them on that touch bar. So definitely kudos for Apple for bringing up this new innovative solution to the function bar. Now in the future, I can definitely see them having a broad range of applications make use of that. And I'm sure developers are constantly working on pumping out new ways of using that touch bar. And even with the apps we have now, we see this amazing range of compatibility and customization. So you can drop in whatever you want there. It's not like, oh, well, I'm using Photoshop and I have these set tools there. Instead, Apple provides you with the option of choosing which tools you want on that touch bar. So it's basically up to you on what you want to have and which makes you work better. So definitely 2 thumbs up for that touch bar. I don't think it's reached its full potential yet, but I do believe it's a step in the right direction. It's creative, it's innovative, and many people think it's a gimmick and that it's not really worth the money. But I think it's definitely cool, of course, and also it's a lot of fun to play with, which I know both sound like gimmicky kind of things to say, but they are useful. Once you start playing with it, it's a lot of fun, and it's really useful and really accessible. People thought similar things about the LG V10 and LG V20's touch bar at the top. Everyone thought, oh, it's a gimmick, it's not useful. Or with the Galaxy phone's curved display. And now those are both standard things. Like people are starting to add in double displays. I know the HTC U Ultra now also has that second display on top. And me as a past V10 user, future V20 user, I know that that touch bar is actually pretty useful. So I definitely recommend you guys go out into a store and try out the touch bar. It's definitely cool. If you guys make good use of it, it is very beneficial and very, very useful. All right, my third big like is a little bit of a gray area. It's going to overlap a little bit with my dislikes, and that is Apple's adoption of USB-C. Now, I know the 2016 MacBook Pro is not the first device to adopt the USB-C. I know it was the original MacBook with its thin, slender body, and it had one USB-C port. And I know people hated that because you can listen to music and you can charge, or you can listen to music and you can use peripherals, but you could never charge and use peripherals at the same time. And if you ever wanted to, it was basically the dongle game. But with the MacBook Pro, they've upped those ports, and now they have added a total of 4 of them on the entire device. All 4 of them are Thunderbolt, so you can charge with them and use all sorts of display, data transfer, multimedia, all those things through all 4 of those ports. They're all basically the same thing, and there's 2 on each side. Those are standard in all MacBook lines, except the baseline 13-inch MacBook Pro only has 2 of those instead of 4. And that, in fact, is also the one without the touch bar. So if you're going baseline of the 13, you're not getting the touch bar and you're getting fewer ports. So I'd rather put down the extra 200, 300 bucks and get that touch bar and get those 2 extra ports to get more things done. Now, the thing I love about USB-C is that it is the future. My phone that I use right now, the OnePlus 3, has a USB-C charging port. And USB-C is this amazing, amazing technology that lets you do data transfer, headphone jack. The Moto Z also doesn't have headphone jack like the iPhone, and similarly uses that for its audio transfer. So the USB-C opens up a broad range of things that you can do with a single port. Now, I know we haven't reached the point of it being everywhere, but the fact that Apple's adopting it into its laptop is setting a trend. Now, in a couple of years, we might see everything being powered by USB-C. So what really, really makes me happy is we could have a future where all of our devices could be powered by one cable. You could have one cable in your backpack and you could charge your laptop, your tablets, your phone, everything. And it would just be this beautiful unity between all devices. And I can't wait for that to happen. So thank you, Apple, for forcing people to do it. And that forcing is going to take me into my first dislike, the fact that there are only 4 USB-C ports. Now, I like that there are 4. I just don't like that there are only those 4 ports on the laptop, aside from the headphone jack. Now, for me personally, I like having an SD card slot, and I like being able to take my SD card out of my DSLR and put it straight into my laptop, but now I need a dongle. So I definitely think that Apple should have had a couple more ports on there. I know people are complaining a lot about USB-C and having to buy those dongles, and most of those dongles are sold directly by Apple, so you're putting down $50 to $60 to have those dongles coming out of your laptop. Also, that's not even considering the fact that you have to carry all of them. So you're carrying all these dongles with you. If you're a student in your backpack, even just to use a basic flash drive, you have to have a dongle. There's no standard USB-A port to plug into. So definitely a step in the right direction, as in they're going in the positive way, and I definitely love Apple for doing this, but I think they took a step too far, I guess you could say. They shouldn't have taken away everything and just relied on USB-C, but I do like that they're having USB-C on there because we're moving towards a potentially USB-C future. So that's not a huge problem for a lot of people. It is for those who have a set base of accessories. If you guys have a certain stock things that you use, certain flash drives, certain external hard drives, things like that, it's gonna suck. But if you're buying all this new stuff for college anyway, there's tons of monitors that just use USB-C ports, display ports. There are hard drives that go through faster transfer because of USB-C. There are USB-C flash drives. So there's all this cool stuff that's coming out that makes use of that USB-C. So if you're starting off fresh, buying all this new stuff, might not be such a bad thing for you. And you're future-proofing, because the future is going to be USB-C. Whether you like it or not, it's coming. I'm excited, and I hope you guys are too. All right, dislike number 2 is the keyboard. Now, the first butterfly keyboard debuted on the original MacBook, and people didn't like it at all. It kind of felt like you were typing on a tablet screen. They did that so that the device could be super, super thin and super light and keep that thin, narrow form factor. And I mean, it was a cool device. It wasn't very powerful, and the keyboard definitely wasn't great in performing, and I didn't like it at all. The new MacBook Pro has the version 2.0, which is a little bit better, but still I am definitely a fan of that key travel on laptops that are from other companies. So I like on my MSI having that feel of a keyboard under your fingers. After using the MacBook Pro, I mean, I got used to typing on it. Doesn't mean I liked it. I got used to it, so I wasn't kind of like, oh, when I was typing. It was more of, okay, I can do this, but do I really want to do this? So I kind of miss the old keyboard from the previous devices and from other laptops. So if you're really picky for keyboards, then this could be a problem for you. Otherwise, if you don't really care for keyboards, it's fine. You can always just plug in a different keyboard and use it. So it's not a huge deal, but that's one of the things I didn't like about this device. So one of my biggest dislikes with the device is in fact the price. The baseline 13-inch model of the MacBook Pro actually doesn't even come with the touch bar. It only has 2 USB-C ports. That's only one more than the MacBook. So I definitely think that if you're going to look into buying one of these devices, you should consider the price. The model that I played with, the 15-inch model with the dedicated graphics card and those massive specs, goes the upwards of $2,000 to $3,000. So keep that in mind when you're going to buy the device. Also keep in mind there are a lot of alternatives that offer similar power. One example is my MSI. Another example is the XPS 15. So I'll leave a couple of other ideas that I have for other laptops down below. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't buy this device. I'm just saying that if you're kind of debating, hey, I could buy the MacBook Pro 2016, but what else could I buy? Like, what are my other alternatives? I'm kind of putting in a couple ideas for those other alternatives. So you can kind of compare the two, think about which one you like better in terms of feel, ports, things like that, and you can decide which one you like and go from there. So be sure to check those out down below in the description. Leave a couple links for other laptops. Now, I know there are some of you who are native to the macOS homeland. You guys enjoy using macOS. You guys can't live without it. I definitely understand that feeling. I definitely say that there's nothing better than a MacBook Pro running macOS. Like, there's no point in buying a Windows laptop and trying to run macOS on it. I definitely think that a MacBook Pro is the best device to do that kind of stuff. Also, if you are an application user and those applications are limited strictly to macOS, things like Final Cut or Sketch 3, I definitely say stick to the MacBook Pro. It'll give you better results. It'll just be better off. Also, you'll love that device and you'll enjoy using your applications a lot more. Now, when you're getting down and thinking about buying a new device or a new laptop, in terms of if you're buying it for college, for work, for multimedia, entertainment, whatever those categories are, be sure to weigh out the things I talked about in this video. Now, those 6 things definitely are nowhere near the only things that are factors in talking about the MacBook Pro. Of course, there's that huge, ginormous trackpad, there are the new colors, and a couple of other design changes that I didn't get to today. I just want to make sure I covered the 3 most important things on either side of the spectrum so that you guys can sit down and think, hey, did I like the 3 things I was talking about, and do I not really care about those dislikes? Well then yeah, go for that MacBook Pro. But if you're like, hey, you know what, I need more ports, or this is just too expensive for me, and you're falling into that more disliking area, then it might be better for you to consider one of those alternatives below. So I hope you guys liked this video. I hope it made you make a better decision on buying your new device. Also, if you guys have any questions or have any other tech you want me to check out, feel free to leave it in the comments below. Also, like and subscribe to the channel. Keep in mind, guys, that we're just starting off with 2017. It's a fresh, brand new year. We're just hitting the February, March, spring era time. And we're about to see an influx of all these great devices, new phones, new tablets, new laptop. It's gonna be so exciting. Personally, I'm waiting for the Galaxy S8. And soon I'm going to be bringing a video talking with you guys about the rumors and things that I've learned surrounding the Galaxy S8 and what we can expect to come out from Samsung. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys are excited for this new year of tech as I am. Be sure to follow SLADe on social media to stay up to date on the latest tech. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll be sure to see you guys next time.